that vision that only you see and nobody else has ever seen but you. And with it comes that strong, intense feeling of fire that is burning inside of you, demanding to be felt, as if it could just light up the world. I have seen this vision, and I have felt this fire since I was 14 years old. At one moment, I knew that I was born for greatness, that this fire was too strong to stay inside. I had to get it out, but I didn't know how. And a few months after that, I discovered Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and Eric Thomas, and I started to listen to them every day. In the bus, going to school, coming back from school, their voices in my mind, allowing them to rewire my subconscious mind onto greatness. I knew in every cell of my being that I was going to use my voice to create impact and change. But here's the thing. That fire needs fuel. And over the years, I have learned that fuel comes from 4 things: the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul. And today, I'm going to be teaching you how to use these 4 quadrants in order to ignite that fire within you and step into your power. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a bridge. And right in front of you, there is a city that is so vibrant, so colorful, so alive. Every detail in the city is exactly the kind of life you want to build for yourself. And you know that it is yours. But there's a problem. You're frozen. Your feet are glued to the ground, and you cannot jump. You cannot move. There's something that is holding you back. What is it? The doubts? The fears? The voices in your head that tell you you're not enough? That's not possible. You don't deserve this life? Where are these thoughts coming from? This is your mind limiting you from your greatness. And in order to master your mind, you need to first understand it. 90% of your habits, your actions, your behaviors, your routines come from your subconscious mind. And only 10% comes from your conscious mind. That means that every action and behavior that I do comes from my personal beliefs, subconscious beliefs, not what I think, what I know to be true. We are conscious beings, subconsciously driven. And so if I stand in front of the mirror every day and I tell myself, I am strong, I'm beautiful, I'm powerful, but truly I believe that I'm ugly and I'm weak and I'm useless, my actions are never going to follow this power. But where is this wiring of my subconscious mind coming from? 30 to 50% of my personality comes from the age of 0 to 7. That means that 30 to 50% of who I am today is a collection of the information that I was taking in from that age, because my conscious mind wasn't developed yet. So I couldn't rationalize, I couldn't analyze, I couldn't question what I was taking. And who was giving me this information? The people around me, my parents, my caregivers, my teachers. And who said that the way they lived their life was the right way for me? Who said that the way that they loved themselves is how I need to love myself? Why did I take them on to be my own? And why did I never stop to really question those voices that are in my head? Are they mine? So again, in order to understand and master your mind, you need to know how it works. Write this down. The first step towards any change in behavior is awareness. So let's take a trip to Paris. You go to Paris and there is that castle that you've always wanted to visit. And of course, naturally, the first thing that you do in order to get there is you pick up your phone and you open Google Maps. But how does Google Maps know which one of those roads is the right road for you? It needs to first locate where you stand. And when it knows where you stand in reference to that final destination, it is able to give you the exact road that's best for you. The means of transportation, how long it takes you to get there, and the distance in between you and that final destination. And the same thing is applicable to your goals. In order for you to know which is the right path for you to get to your goals, you need to first have clarity on that. Sharp clarity in details. I know sometimes we don't know what we want, but at least know the kind of person you want to become. How do you walk? How do you talk? How do you dress? How do you walk into a room? How do you make people feel? How do you take decisions? And once you have clarity on that, that's the key, because it tells your brain It gives your brain access and the ability to get into deep flow state. And that's translated into peak performance. And then once you're clear on this, you need to be aware of where you stand. What are the thoughts in my head? What are the limiting beliefs that I have? What are the identities that I've given myself that probably no longer serve me anymore? What are the skills and the strengths and the weaknesses that I have or don't? But there's a thin line that most people miss. Awareness is one thing, but accepting what I'm aware of is a whole other thing. I'm not okay. No. I need to support my family. I need to be okay. I'm strong. I'm good. I'm not okay. But no. I am okay. And as long as there's that lack of acceptance, there's constantly going to be an internal conflict with you and yourself, and you're never going to be able to move forward. But once you accept that I'm not okay, and this is where I stand, then you're able to ask yourself, where can I go from here? So once you're aware and you accept where you stand and you are clear on your final destination, then it's time for you to reverse engineer. How do I fill this gap? What skills do I need to build? What knowledge do I need to learn? What habits do I need to have in my life? What beliefs do I need to adapt? And then from there, you need to put a plan. But as we said, a plan needs action to be fulfilled, and actions come from my subconscious wiring. So my wiring right now is outdated. I need to update that into the highest self. How do I do this? One of the most powerful ways for you to rewire your subconscious mind is through visualization. When you visualize in detail using all your senses, feeding all the emotions of what it's like to get there, studies have shown that the brain doesn't know the difference in between the past, what's happening in the past, what's happening in the present, and what's happening in the future. As long as it is linked to a powerful emotion, then it is happening right now. And your brain's going to start to create new neural pathways to make that happen. That's neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to create new neural pathways based on what you focus on. And consistency here is key. The more that you do it, the more you fire those neurons. And the more you fire those neurons, the stronger they become. The stronger they become, the more automatic they get. The more automatic they get, they become a habit. And habit then repetitively becomes an identity. And identity, then this is long-lasting behavioral change. Are you ready to do that, though? Are you ready to let go and grieve everything that you've been before, to really step into what you're meant to be? I've been there. I felt all of this, and I had to do all of that work. So when I was 14, I got so fascinated with human behavior. What makes people behave in a certain way? How do they think? And then I started to also research on strength training and nutrition to really optimize everything that is within me. And I decided that the best way for me to do that is to become a doctor, to study the body. So I went into pre-medical school. And at the same time, I also started personal training with my friend, Wed, who has started his private gym at the balcony of his home. And as we started this course together, that gym then became bigger and it became an actual private gym. And I noticed one thing one day is that when people come in and they don't want to work out, the thing that gets them going is after they start warming up their body, their emotional state changes. I remembered then what Tony Robbins says. The fastest way you can change your state or change your emotion is by putting your energy in motion. Okay. So if I move my body, I change my state. And if I change my state, I change my performance. And if I change my performance, I change my results. So what is the relationship in between the body and performance? I wanted to know more about that. So I went and continued my academic education into nutrition and psychology. And I started to study all about this. And at the time, I was eating healthy and I was working out, but I looked like this. What you see right now is a face of someone who has high cortisol levels. By the book, I was healthy, but I didn't look healthy and I didn't feel healthy. And honestly, I was exhausted. I was burning out every single weekend because I was working 16 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week. I was keeping 3 to 4 hours, full credits at university, a full-time job, and literally enrolled in every single leadership, public speaking, training program my university had, and every single community volunteering activity out there. I was exhausting myself in order to work on my character and build my skill. But the difference is that I was acting from a place of lack, so I was constantly in survival mode. I was constantly trying to fill up a void that was never filled up by my achievements. And here, what I did is that I realized that what I was trying to do and how I was trying to fill in this void is by trying to make other people see what I saw in myself, because I felt like no one believed in me. Nobody felt like I was enough. I felt I wasn't enough. At least that's what allowed me to see how other people thought of me. So my run was really to fill in a void, to try to prove that, do you see what I see within me? Do you see what I have? And it was crazy. It was at that time when I was standing on that edge of that bridge, and I knew what was waiting for me. I knew it. I knew every single detail. And I had the plan. I was the screen planner. And I knew the steps, but I just couldn't jump, and it made absolutely no sense. Why couldn't I jump? So I had to do something that I had never done before. I asked for help. I reached out to a coach, and I told her on the first call, I said, listen, I know I was born for greatness, but there's something holding me back. I don't know what it is, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to remove that. And this is when I was introduced to the world of emotional healing. And man, oh man, did that change my life. I realized that I was working on my body, I was working on my mind, but my heart was blocked. And when I was learning about the heart health and the heart coherence, I saw and I learned that the electromagnetic field of the heart is 60 times greater than the mind. And it is the heart that really sends out and communicates with the body and the mind, and not the other way around. So if my heart was blocked, then my whole system was blocked. Then of course I couldn't play full out. Of course I couldn't play at my peak state and peak performance and get into my greatness, because the most powerful energy inside of me was shut down. And I had to start to remove all of these layers and remove and heal from this emotional baggage that would reconnect me back to the present moment, because this is where transformation and change happens. It doesn't happen in the past, and it doesn't happen in the future. The future is a result of what I do today. Transformation and creation and change only happen in the present moment. The reason why I was doing all of these extracurricular activities was also because this is where I felt most alive. Every time I spoke on stage, every time I was leading, every time I was training, I felt alive, and I wanted more of this. But on May 5th, 2019, I had to put a stop to all of that to focus on something else. Because on May 5th, at 6 p.m., as I was studying for my finals, that's when I got a call. I remember my friend was calling me, and he said, hey, are you standing or are you sitting? That's when I knew that something was wrong. And he told me something that still to this day I cannot believe. My friend and work partner was riding a bicycle, and he got hit by a car and passed away. How is it that a 22-year-old grown man with so many ambitions and so many dreams like that, gone? Losing him was not losing just a friend, but a person. Losing him was losing someone, one of the very few people that I felt saw me for who I was. Someone who really wanted to invest in everything that I was doing without even knowing about it. And now he's gone. So I had to put a pause for all of my dreams, and I worked with his dad to continue his legacy. We managed the gym for the upcoming 3 years to build his dream, continue that, and continue building his legacy, so that in hopes that we feel that he's still here with us. But after those 3 years, I felt that something was dimming. My light was just off. And I realized that the reality that I was living was his dream. It wasn't mine. And after all the inner work that I was doing, I realized that I should muster up the courage to start working on my dream. At least that's what he wanted me to do, right? He wanted to invest in them without even knowing what they are. He believed in them. So he would want me to go full out and play full out. And so on May 5th, 2022, exactly 3 years later, on the day, I handed out the keys to the gym to someone else. And I went out to chase my own dreams, and that was not easy. But doing that meant that I had to start from zero. But as soon as I did this, the world started to open up. Opportunities started coming to me on a silver platter. And just like this, I became a high-performance coach, international speaker, international trainer. I work with top CEOs, professional athletes, global artists. I'm the founder of Home of Greatness, the place that not only sees and recognizes greatness, but supports it and invests it in every single way possible, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, to the people who dare to go after their own greatness. But I want to question a few things. Aristotle said that we are born as tabula rasa, a white sheet of paper. And I mean, he is right, but to some extent. Because our mind, when we're born, it knows nothing. But I am not my mind. My mind is wired based on what I believe to be true. And that I is not my mind, it's not my body, and it's not my heart. It is my soul. It is the essence of who I am. And that fire within me that I was talking about, that fire is the voice of my soul. That fire reminds me that I'm not just born for greatness. I came from greatness. Because you see, I'm an extension of God. This is God, and I'm an extension of Him. And if He is all-knowing, and if He is all loving, and if He is all creative and great, and if He is all wise, and I'm an extension of Him, what can I do? How powerful am I? How powerful are you? That fire that you feel within you is not yours to keep. It is yours to share. So when you align your soul's gift with your mind, and when you align that mind onto those beliefs, and then you take care of your body in order to allow your soul to live that life fully, and then you align your heart and you open it to the greatest power of all, the power of love, then you have not only reached peak performance, you have reached self-actualization, the highest level at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I want to ask you, are you ready to fuel up that fire? I hope that you choose to do that, because the world needs you. So go, now, light up the world. Thank you.